obviously me being not always a shopper, but looking at other people's things is like definitely photos in general that like I hate going to a website that has stock photos. So that is one thing that I will immediately be like,
Awesome. Welcome, everybody, to episode 1 of Moving Metal. I'm so excited to talk to Carissa today. Carissa is our
oh my God,
first
moving
guest,
metal. I love it.
right?
Dude, I love. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Awesome. So tell us
Yeah, I'm
about
so
yourself.
excited.
Introduce yourself.
All right, I am a third generation dealer in Western Pennsylvania, small towns. My grandfather started our original store, Luther Ford Lincoln, in Homer City, Pennsylvania. My dad expanded and has been running our stores for over 40 years now, and he has expanded to the store I'm at primarily, which is Luther Ford of Evansburg, so a Ford franchise, and expanded to Luther, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram in Northern Cambria. So small town dealers, but we're like big enough to deal, small enough to care is kind of our little slogan. So yeah,
That's
so I've been
amazing.
in here now since I went to Pitt, graduated with a business degree, and then started here. I basically worked here still while I was in college. So I did part-time all the way from the accounting office, which not my thing. Very commend everybody that can do that. That is not my strong suit, but did all of our filing room, worked from parts, then service advisor, finance, and then on the floor a little bit, but then I went to desking, and that's kind of my how I got to where I'm at now. So I'm the GM at our Luther Ford of Evansburg store, and my brother GMs are the store I'm at right now, which is Luther Ford Lincoln in Homer City. So yeah.
Very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. I'm curious. Did you ever consider doing something else? Like, this is their family business, but
Yeah, I mean, I think that my dad would have preferred I do something else just
really?
because it is, yeah, like it's even sometimes now he'll be like, "Are you sure you like want to do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm like 10 years in." Like, yeah, I do. It's long. I think that he knew the hours. It's long hours, it's a lot of commitment, it's consistently moving parts. It's a marathon, not a sprint. There are every single month, the month before, and it doesn't matter. So it's like Groundhog Day, like in that regard, and it's a lot to manage. There's great days and then there's not so great days, and it's a lot. So I think that that's kind of where he was coming from in that regard of like knowing that like the commitment my brother and I were going to be getting into with like wanting to do this. So for a while he was like, "Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to do this?" And like I always wanted to, and then briefly was like, I'm like, I was gonna go into like DC and do like political science and stuff like that, just because I do enjoy that. And I was like, this is a great opportunity to not try to do it. And I love what I do. I love the people that we work with. And every day is different. Like I said, sometimes for the good, sometimes for the bad. It really depends. But I mean, at this point, I can't really imagine doing anything else. And it's definitely allowed me to have a lot of time with my dad, which is great.
Yeah.
I learn a lot from him every single day. I say it all the time that I'm like, he's forgotten more than I will ever know. It's just such a different business now than it was when he was starting. It's like, it's crazy to hear those stories, but it lets me work with my family, which is great and sometimes not so great. But for the most part, is great to have like the connection that I do with like my brother and my dad. So that's kind of,
That's great. No,
yeah,
and it makes so much sense to me that it gives you that quality time with your family. Maybe not always
yeah.
quality time, but like
No,
quantity
definitely
and
though.
time. Yeah, which is
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
really
I'm
important.
definitely one of like the only people that I know that's like sees their dad at this point in my life where I don't live at home,
Right.
multiple times a day. We have conversations all the time that is good for the most part. It's nice to like have these memories and like know what he knows and try to learn from him while I still have the opportunity to, which is great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So we at Car Shop focus on merchandising, and our partnerships
Okay.
with our dealers are getting quality photos, consistent photos, and as
Yeah.
quickly as possible up on the
Yeah.
website. So I'm curious what you think is the first thing buyers are looking at an online listing.
Price.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
Um, like, what you are doing is like car industry wise, you want to like have your vehicles through the shop pictured as quickly as possible. Like 3 days is like a great, in theory, time
Right.
frame to like get your
Right.
vehicle serviced, get it cleaned, and get it frontline ready and get it on the website, because every day, every hour it's not on there is obviously burning the money. As the days clink by, your car's probably worth less and less and depreciates more and more. So, but obviously, me being not always a shopper, but looking at other people's things is like definitely photos in general, that like I hate going to a website that has stock photos. So that is one thing that I will immediately be like, I can't even imagine as a consumer how they feel about that, but I would immediately be like, next one. And then I talk a lot about, price. Like prices, most people when they go to filter through something, it is by price. Either they do the cheapest one first, which is fine. So if they go from, 20 to $30,000 they want to spend, they'll that's how I buy from the auction. I search cheapest to higher and see what you can get, and the best bang for your buck. So in my opinion, it would be price, as much as consumers don't want to agree with that. But
Right.
and that's okay. I mean, I think that that's worth like having a conversation about, of
Yeah.
realistically that's why people buy or they don't.
Yeah. And do you think that's what makes them hesitate at the bottom line is price?
Um, so I mean, I think more and more with like the social media and the internet and stuff like that, is that customers can come in and, for the most part, be very informed, in my opinion. There's a lot of things that are out there on TikTok, on Instagram and stuff, of people explaining to you the shady things dealers do or used to do or whatever it is. And my one big thing is like, if I could erase some of that stigma from something that I wasn't even around to partake in, that's kind of my goal, is transparency. So I talk a lot about profit, and I talk a lot about the steps, and a lot of things about, obviously we're not a not for profit. Like we make money, we have to, I have employees, I have family, I have things that we have to pay bills for. But I think that the stigma around the industry is what makes people hesitate. So I think that they're checking Google reviews, they are checking what your website says. Even now, like I'll Google search reviews on like TikTok, which is something I would have never done a few years ago, and been like, what do people say about this or that? And because people will go to social media when they are not happy with things. And that, I think, that is where you get like a very raw review of places. But so yeah, I mean, I think that like that all plays a huge part into like the stigma of why people don't want to buy from you, or what they take into consideration, in addition to just general price. If they feel like they're getting a good deal, you can probably earn their business. If they think that you're not, and they can't trust you and they don't believe you, you're never going to change them, no matter what the price is, to come buy from you, if they don't trust you and they don't believe what you're saying.
Right. And how do you think that translates back to your website, like the dealer website?
So we are forced basically with Ford to use a specific set of websites. So we're on dealer.com right now, and my brother just switched to a company called Motive, but there's like a lot of hoops that you have to jump through if you're not going to use a Ford site. And Ford puts a lot of things that we can get if we use one of their sites, and we lose a lot of things if we choose not to. So I'm still on the dealer.com site. I think that ease of use is super helpful. I think that like clear and concise pricing, where there's a lot of people that will price things then that like put every single rebate you could qualify for on there as far as pricing goes. And people don't know that that isn't accurate. They think that like they'll come in and be upset and be like, well, how are they giving me so much money off? And I'm like, that's not a real number. I would much rather deal with real numbers. So I think that like ease of navigating your website, clear, concise pricing, not a ton of like drop downs. I try to every once in a while. I have a manager at my store that's really good with like all of that sort of thing. So he's constantly like auditing the website, and obviously things fall through the cracks, but getting through and getting things that are like wasted space and wasted pages that kind of bog down your site, I think is super important. Because if I'm going to drop down into parts and there's 6 tabs and there's no discounts and there's no reason for it to be on there.
Mhm.
So I think that people don't have the tendency of auditing their website and just seeing how it looks from desktop as well as like mobile. Mobile has made a huge leap in making sure your page is like successful loading and looks great and is easy to function on a phone, I think is another thing that people really don't pay attention to.
Yeah, I agree. So you think people are on mobile more than desktop when they're looking for a car?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's funny when you see, our CRM has been solutions, when you see people's like leads come in at like 11 o'clock or 1 in the morning, like they're late night scroll. I mean, I'm late night scrolling sometimes on my phone, not for vehicles, luckily, but like I think that that's the majority of people. I mean, even when if somebody calls me and I'm not at the store, I just pop onto the page. So I'm on there a ton too, that I think that there is a huge transition. And in dealer.com, you can see the breakdown. I don't know off the top of my head, but you can see the breakdown between desktop, mobile, and then even tablet, which I think tablet is a little off to the wayside, but mobile for sure. I mean, people
Yes.
scroll all day long.
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah,
how important do you think it is that when a customer comes in to see a specific car,
yeah,
that they are expecting to see what is pictured on your site?
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's like I think that there's some times in the car industry where like you have a pre-owned vehicle and you will want to only show it in its best light. Like, don't look at that corner, it has a dent. Don't look at this, like, don't picture that, don't do this, don't do that. And like, I think that we're all probably guilty of it to a degree because you expect that it's an easier objection to overcome when somebody comes in. If they love the car and there's a dent, we can either repair it or I will discount the price or stuff like that. You know what I
right.
mean? But I think that like making sure you have enough pictures and just in general, I know that conversions with Google and things like that are you want to have like 25 to 30 pictures of your inventory on there before so it gets out there and people can see it. So I think the more pictures the better. I would rather not have to explain, oh yeah, that dent was there. I just told them not, like I just don't see the point in doing that, especially with like in general me discussing like getting rid of the stigma. Um so I think that clear pictures, I think a lot of pictures, I know a lot of people are getting into video. I'm not currently doing video, but I think that that is a great avenue as well. Um, just so people know exactly what they're getting. And usually if you have a good clean car and you can show them that, you can ultimately justify the price of that vehicle versus one down the road that's maybe $5,000 less. And I'm like, well, did you see that? What do the tires look like? What does this look like? Where it could speak for itself without somebody having to call you to get that information.
Exactly.
Yeah,
100%. Clear pictures makes such a huge difference.
for
Do
sure.
you have conversions with your social media? People coming in wanting to buy from you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I just started TikTok like 6 months ago.
Mhm.
And it's definitely a slow build. Like it's not like an overnight thing by any means. But I probably 3 months in started selling people from my TikTok. So I sell anywhere from like 5 to 15 people a month from my TikTok currently.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, yeah, yeah. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's interesting because I think that they know you already, which is nice, so you don't have to like really build that rapport.
Mhm.
Um, it's definitely difficult. Like it's definitely a different avenue of things where people are like, I deal with a lot of subprime credit. So I have a lot of people that come in that are like, I just need nobody will pay attention to me. Can you help me? And I try, and if I can't, I can't, and I'm very honest about it. And they really appreciate like the bluntness and the honesty instead of me just being like, well, like, no, if I can't do it, I will just tell you. I don't believe in wasting your time or mine or my time. It's very valuable. I have a lot going on, and so do you. So, it's really different that like I think that they get to know my personality a lot better, and they get to know like my general sense of humor for certain for certain things that like I don't have to spend as much time getting to know them. And by the time they come in, they're either already approved and know exactly what they want, or we have a very clear picture of where we're going, which also helps the process in general.
Definitely. And how do you think, is there a disconnect between or a connection between your social media presence and your website experience, your dealer website?
So I now send people directly to a page that I have built on my website. That is
Okay.
like the Carissa's Corner. It's that's what it's called. And it's like you found me. I have a little YouTube on there that they can watch because I send it to everybody because when I started and I was guilty of doing it, is like working deals in my DMs, which is just not productive.
Right.
I've found it not productive. I find it's a very huge waste of my time. And so most people get not automated on TikTok because I've like not I'm not opted in to do that, but I will send everybody the same message for the most part that sends them directly to my page so it comes directly into Bin Solutions. And if you're serious and you do want to buy a vehicle from me, you're gonna have no problem filling out your name and your phone number and your email. If you don't want to do that, then you're just not serious, and that's totally okay. But it is counterproductive then for me to go to work for you to send you numbers for you to ghost me. So yeah, so it's much easier to send them directly to my site because they can fill that out. Then they can also peruse and see what else is on there. Maybe like they're looking at a Bronco that I did and they want to see what else is in stock. So it's just way better to get all the traffic to the website off of a social media platform, at least for me, as quick as I can, just because then my team can work it. My BDC works it. Then I work their numbers so I can get involved. And it's way easier to control that. Like once in a while I'll get the message that's like, well, then you don't really want my business. And I'm like, no, that's not true. I just cannot, doing what I'm doing, work deals in my DMs. Things would get lost so quickly. Like it would be insane.
Yeah. And that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
So, 5 to 15, you said, deals a month,
Yeah.
sales from social.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So
Um,
my brother's on here too, and then we have our Luther Auto Sales page. So I don't really monitor the Luther Auto Sales page a ton. I mean, we and I, like, we both film content for there, and then the leads kind of get dispersed from there. But yeah, I mean, I mean, realistically, most of the time, the sales that I get from there pay for what I'm doing to film content.
right.
So it's great. I mean, I probably had like 5 or 6 last month. It's also still hard to track the local people because I've had people that we've sold. They went to, this was probably 2 or 3 months ago now. They went to another store out by where they lived and they just like treated them terribly. Like didn't have the best credit. They wanted a new Bronco, just like really did not give them the time of day. And her and her husband left and she was like on TikTok, she was like, maybe we should go see her. And they
Hmm.
came in and we got them approved. They had a great experience. And then after that was like, we only came here because I saw your TikTok that night of the
Amazing.
one Bronco. And I was like, we should just go see her. She seems like she would actually either help us or shoot it to us straight. And I was like, I love that. So there's definitely some more people that come in locally
Yeah.
that won't come in directly as a lead, but are constantly being like, I see you guys. We see you out here. Your thing, the commercial came on while we were at dinner. Like, so it's out there. It's not as easy to track, but that goes into like people still wanting to run billboards. You can't track a billboard for the most part
Mhm.
unless you have a call tracking number. But social media for me is like the way of the future with a lot of things. And
Yeah.
like your reach is so much better. Like I sell to people in Kentucky. I have a friend of mine who's a dealer in Kentucky and was like, whoa, how did you sold somebody in my neighborhood? I'm like, well, then you should take better care of your customers and they wouldn't come to me. Like,
Fantastic.
you know,
Yeah.
but yeah, so
Very cool. And so a couple last things that we kind of touched
yeah.
on this. What's one thing dealers could improve immediately with their website?
Um, just making it clear, making it not like jumbo, I like and garbled and stuff like that. And I think that the less pop-ups, the better. I literally hate scrolling on somewhere and like consistently getting pop-ups for thing. Like I don't want to have to exit out, especially on my phone. The X is so little that I'm like guaranteed to hit something else. And then I'm like, no. So auditing your website and just making sure that there's everything that's on there needs to be on there and is correct, and taking off anything that's just excess because you don't want them spending a lot of time clicking through things that are irrelevant to them.
Right. And what do you think causes friction between expectation and reality when someone comes in or
I think
online?
that people, yeah, I think that people and dealers and salesmen and just everyone really prefers to sugarcoat things. I don't like to sugarcoat things. I would rather just be like, well, your score is X and you have this, and I can't do that. Where a lot of people would rather get them in and then have that conversation. And now I get it, to their credit sometimes. It's definitely easier if you can get somebody approved and their payment's a little higher than they want it to be for them to like fall in love with the vehicle and then have that conversation. But I truly believe that if you can't help somebody, you should tell them. I think that wasting somebody's time is extremely disrespectful. I don't like doing it. I don't want to waste my time. I would never waste somebody else's on like a hope and a prayer. Like I would rather tell them the truth about it. I would rather them have all of the information so that they can make a very clear and informed decision, because there's nothing worse than somebody buying something and they don't do their research and they don't ask the questions, and then 2 weeks later they're mad at you. Where I would rather try to give you everything that you have. At this point with the internet, it is pretty hard to hide anything. And I just think that honesty in general about whatever it might be, car condition, honest payments, honest about your process, and did your vehicle get serviced? Did it go through the shop? Did it get a state inspection? Like, just general honesty, I think, is what creates, or lack of honesty is what creates the most friction between like me and a customer.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you so much for your time.
course.
It was so
Yeah,
great to
yeah.
meet you, and
Likewise.
we'll
Thank you
have
for
to keep in
having
touch.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. I love following your journey. It's so cool. So
Oh,
thanks
thank
for
you.
having me.
Thanks
Yeah,
so much,
absolutely.
and thanks everybody for joining us today, and
Yeah.
stay tuned for the next episode.